Apparently, people have been talking about you.
Oh, man.
Right. Just, sit with that sentence for a second. You hear that, or I mean, maybe you just sense it when you walk into a room.
Yeah.
And what happens? Your stomach completely
Oh,
drops.
instantly. Your heart rate spikes.
Yeah. There's this sudden rush of heat to your face. And in that fraction of a second, your piece just goes entirely kaput,
It's gone.
completely gone. And the craziest part is the actual truth of whatever happened, it doesn't even matter anymore. You are officially in panic mode, just, entirely consumed by what is being said.
It's just such a universal, like deeply visceral reaction.
Yeah.
And it's incredibly destabilizing.
Yeah.
Because the second you feel your reputation is under threat, your brain it hijacks the steering wheel.
Totally.
It starts demanding answers to questions you can't possibly know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who said what? Who else was in the room? Why would they, twist it like that?
Do I need to confront them?
Right. Should I send a passive-aggressive email? And underneath all of it, there's this desperate, burning desire for someone, anyone really, to just be sorry for misunderstanding you.
Exactly. The human mind just kicks into absolute overdrive. And, well, that is exactly what we're unpacking today in this deep dive.
Yeah, we are.
We're looking at how to navigate reputation attacks, how to survive the exhausting mental toll of criticism, and most importantly, how to actually find genuine peace when your name is being dragged.
Which is not easy.
No, it's really not. But we are drawing on some surprisingly relevant ancient wisdom found in Psalm 4 to help us figure this out.
It's remarkably applicable to today.
It really is. Because whether you are dealing with a toxic dynamic at work or weird tension in your family circles or just getting caught up in some random online drama, the mission today is to shift out of that sheer panic.
Right, and into a place of grounded action.
Yes. So to actually find that peace, I feel like we have to start by dissecting anatomy of a modern misunderstanding.
We do.
Yeah.
We have to look at exactly why our minds spiral so violently when our character is questioned. Because the arenas where this happens today, they're so specific.
And painfully relatable.
So relatable.
Let's talk about those arenas. Because the moment we feel misunderstood, it's usually not some, grand public scandal.
Right, it's not a press conference.
Exactly. It happens in these mundane, everyday environments like the workplace. You are sitting in a Tuesday morning meeting, you make a totally standard point, and someone just twists your words.
Yep.
Suddenly, without your consent, a whole narrative is formed, and you are labeled as that person in the office.
Yes, the workplace is a primary battleground for this. But, it happens just as easily in the family dynamic, too.
Oh, absolutely.
You walk into a family gathering, and there is this thick, undeniable tension in the room. You didn't create it. You don't even fully understand it.
But you are somehow being held responsible for it.
Exactly. You're misunderstood by the people who are supposed to know you best.
The unexplained family tension is brutal because there are literally decades of history attached to it.
Decades.
And then, of course, there are the social circles. You just feel watched. You walk into a room and you can almost feel the quiet discussions happening in the corners.
It's a terrible feeling.
And let's not forget the digital realm. You could literally just be sitting on your couch, totally minding your own business, and suddenly you realize you are trending in a secret WhatsApp group that you didn't even know existed.
That is the modern nightmare, I think.
Yeah, it really is.
But it highlights the reality of the environment we're navigating.
Sure.
We live in an era where gossip travels exponentially faster than the truth.
Not true.
People are they're entirely comfortable forming rigid opinions about you without ever having a real conversation with you.
Yeah, they don't check the facts.
No, they don't. And if you choose to stay silent, that silence is almost always weaponized or at least completely misunderstood.
I've been thinking about the emotional toll of all this, and I realized something about my own brain. Yeah. When I feel like my reputation is under attack, it's honestly like my brain goes out and hires this unpaid, hyperactive defense attorney who just refuses to go to sleep.
Oh, that is such a perfect analogy.
Right. This guy is living in my head rent-free, pacing back and forth, dragging out a whiteboard, and furiously litigating these completely imaginary court cases.
That is exactly what is happening. And that unpaid attorney is draining every single ounce of your mental and physiological resources.
It's exhausting.
It is. Think about the energy it takes to fuel that process. You are lying awake, replaying a 3-minute conversation for hours.
Yeah, over and over.
You are drafting these incredibly articulate, devastatingly sharp speeches in your head.
Oh my gosh.
That you know you are never, ever going to actually deliver.
Listen, I have won at least 3 imaginary arguments before breakfast on a bad day.
We all have.
It's ridiculous, but it raises a really important question. Why do we do this? Like, what is going on in our neurology that makes the instinct to launch a massive PR campaign for ourselves so overwhelmingly strong?
Even when we know it's just leaving us completely exhausted.
Exactly. Why?
Well, to understand that, you have to look at how our brains actually evolved.
Okay.
For prehistoric humans, your reputation within your tribe literally meant the difference between survival and death.
Wow, really?
Yeah. If the tribe decided you were a liability, or if your character is questioned and you were exiled, you wouldn't survive the winter alone.
So it was literal life or death.
Literally. So
Yeah.
neurologically speaking, when Bob from accounting twists your words in a meeting, your amygdala, the threat detection center of your brain,
Right.
it doesn't see a corporate misunderstanding. It sees a prowling tiger. It sees exile.
Oh, wow. So it interprets a threat to my social standing as an actual threat to my physical safety.
Precisely. You want to launch that frantic PR campaign because your brain genuinely thinks you are fighting for your life.
That makes so much sense.
You're desperately trying to regain control over a narrative that you feel slipping away.
Mm.
But the tragic irony here is that scrambling for control is exactly what strips you of your peace.
Because you can't control it.
No, you cannot control what other people think. And exhausting yourself trying to do so is just a losing battle.
Which means we need a completely different strategy.
Yes, we do.
Because if our prehistoric brains are hijacking us and our natural instinct to fiercely defend ourselves only leads to burnout, how do we shut that hyperactive defense attorney down?
Right.
And this is where the ancient wisdom of Psalm 4 becomes incredibly relevant. It offers an alternative path by looking at how David handled a massive reputation crisis.
And we really need to be clear about the gravity of David's situation here.
Yeah, set the scene for us.
He wasn't just dealing with a minor slight or a bit of family gossip. He was dealing with severe public dishonor. People were actively conspiring against him.
They were trying to take him down.
Exactly. Questioning his name, his leadership, his core integrity. I mean, his entire kingdom was essentially on the line.
So this was like an ancient cancellation.
Very much so.
The stakes could not have been higher?
And the contrast between how David reacted and our modern frantic instincts is staggering. Facing total public ruin, David didn't panic.
Which is wild.
He didn't fire back at his critics. He didn't launch an apology tour or try to meticulously manage everyone's perception of him.
Right, there was no ancient equivalent of a Notes app apology screenshot on social media.
Exactly. No frantic group text trying to get ahead of the story.
So what did he do? Because there are 2 massive lessons we can pull from his approach here. Lesson number 1 is about the order of operations. Take it to God before you take it to people.
Yes.
Meaning his very first response wasn't a defense at all, it was a prayer.
And the psychological shift there is profound.
Yeah.
When you take it to a higher authority first, you are externalizing the burden.
I like that, externalizing the burden.
Yeah, before you go explaining yourself to 5 different coworkers, before you try to spin the narrative, you hand the weight of the accusation over to something bigger than yourself.
You're actively taking the briefcase away from that unpaid defense attorney in your mind.
That is exactly what you're doing. You're firing the attorney.
That makes sense in theory, but it leads directly into the second lesson from Psalm 4, which is where things get, honestly, really uncomfortable for me.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
Yeah. Lesson 2 is the idea that not every accusation needs your voice. The wisdom here suggests that God can defend your name better than you can, and that silence isn't a weakness, it's a profound act of trust.
It is the ultimate surrender of control.
Okay, but I have to push back hard on this.
Go for it.
Because it's one thing to read about ancient kings trusting in silence, but let's look at a modern corporate environment. We literally just established that we live in a world where silence is weaponized.
Sure.
If a false accusation is made against me at work and I choose to just sit there in silent trust, leadership is going to assume I'm guilty. How is staying silent not just absolute career sabotage?
That is the central tension of this entire concept, and honestly, it is a completely valid fear. Society will often misinterpret your silence.
They will?
People might very well assume you are quiet because you have no defense. But this isn't about being passive. It's not about cowering in a corner.
Okay.
It is about redefining what your silence actually represents. It is a strategic, deeply secure choice.
But how does that actually play out? If I don't defend myself, aren't I just letting them win?
Think about what happens when you frantically defend yourself.
Mm.
You are immediately playing by the rules of the person attacking you.
Oh,
You've stepped into their arena on their terms. By engaging with every petty accusation, you inadvertently validate the attack.
I see what you're saying. If someone calls me a liar and I spend 20 minutes screaming about how honest I am,
You look unhinged.
yeah, I look completely unhinged.
Exactly. Strategic silence is a power move. It basically communicates, I do not need to manipulate your opinion of me to be secure in my own truth.
Wow.
Trusting a higher power, or even just trusting your established track record to defend your name, is a far more grounded stance than letting your ego drag you into the mud.
It's about security.
Right. You have to ask yourself, are you sourcing your security from the fluctuating opinions of your coworkers or from something deeper?
Okay, I can see the strength in that. You aren't being quiet because you're defeated. You're being quiet because you refuse to hand them the microphone.
Precisely.
But let's be real. Choosing to stay silent in the boardroom is only half the battle. The real war starts at 1 more a.m. when you're staring at the ceiling, trying to convince yourself you did the right thing by keeping your mouth shut.
Oh, absolutely. Which brings us to the internal work. You can manage your outward behavior perfectly, but if your internal landscape is a mess, you haven't actually found peace.
Yeah.
You have to guard your heart, not just your reputation.
And there's this profound little phrase from the wisdom of Psalm 4 that addresses this perfectly. In your anger, do not sin.
Yes.
I always thought that just meant, like, don't yell at people.
A lot of people think that.
Right. But looking at it through this lens, it's much deeper. It means it is completely valid to feel hurt or angry when someone twists your words. The danger, the sin part, is letting that hurt turn into bitterness.
It is a crucial distinction. We aren't talking about toxic positivity here.
No.
You aren't supposed to pretend it doesn't hurt when people talk about you behind your back. It hurts.
Really hurt.
The danger lies in the calcification of that hurt. When anger turns into bitterness, it starts to poison your own perspective.
You get hard.
Yeah, you become cynical, defensive, and completely closed off.
Yeah.
You're doing far more long-term damage to your own soul than the original gossip ever could.
And this is where we see that incredibly stark, almost painful contrast in how we sleep.
Oh, the sleep contrast is huge.
David is facing the potential loss of his kingdom. His reputation is in absolute tatters, and yet he is able to say, I will lie down and sleep in peace.
It's amazing.
Meanwhile, here in the modern world, I've got a minor misunderstanding at work, and I'm refreshing my email at 1:37 a.m.
That 1.37 a.m. timestamp is so specific because we have all been there.
Really have.
It perfectly captures that exact miserable feeling of nocturnal anxiety. You know, the blue light of the phone illuminating the dark room, the desperate scrolling.
Looking for anything.
Right? You are looking for some new piece of information, some external validation that will magically resolve the knot in your stomach.
But I've noticed something. When I'm awake at 1:37 a.m., I'm not even trying to solve the problem anymore.
No.
I'm just playing out revenge fantasies. That unpaid defense attorney we talked about earlier, at 1:37 a.m., he is billing me double overtime.
He's making a fortune in stress.
Yes. He is handing me imaginary cross-examination scripts for a trial that literally doesn't exist. What is actually happening in our brains in those midnight moments? Are we trying to fix it or what?
You are shadowboxing.
Yeah.
Your brain is desperately trying to control something that is fundamentally outside of its jurisdiction, which is the minds and opinions of other people.
Man, that's it.
At 1:37 a.m., you are under the illusion that if you just think about it hard enough, you can force the world to understand you.
But you can't.
No. The wisdom we are looking at offers a complete counter-narrative to that midnight anxiety. It simply says, God sees, I can rest.
God sees, I can rest. I mean, it feels almost superhuman to actually execute that in the moment.
It takes practice.
But the core message is that protecting your peace is infinitely more valuable than protecting your image. Your public image is fragile. It is entirely dependent on the shifting moods of a crowd.
Exactly.
But your internal peace, if you anchor it correctly, is untouchable.
Untouchable. And that realization is what allows you to transition from midnight panic into practical, grounded reality. Because eventually the sun comes up,
Right.
the alarm goes off, you have to put your phone down, put your shoes on, and actually walk into that office or that family gathering. You can't just hide under the covers and quote ancient wisdom.
Right, you have to face the music. So how do we actually do it? How do we put this into practice when the stakes feel high?
Well, there is a very specific tactical playbook for this.
I love a playbook.
It's a 3-step process for grounded action when your name is under pressure. Step 1, pause before reacting.
Okay, pause.
This directly combats the amygdala hijack we talked about. You have to internalize the fact that not everything requires an immediate response.
Which goes against every instinct in my body.
I know. But when someone drops a passive-aggressive comment in a meeting, the urge to reply instantly is driven by panic, not wisdom. Taking a deliberate pause creates a critical buffer between the stimulus, the accusation, and your response.
Okay, so step 1 is pause. Step 2, write one truth. And the suggested phrase from the source material is so simple but so grounding. God knows my heart, even if people misunderstand me.
The physical act of writing it down is key here. It takes the thought out of the swirling, chaotic echo chamber of your mind and forces it onto a fixed physical space.
It makes it real.
Yes, it anchors you. When you write, God knows my heart, you are reminding yourself of the ultimate reality. You are shifting your focus from the temporary storm of gossip to the permanent security of your identity.
I love that. Okay, step 3 is where the rubber really meets the road. Take one grounded action. And there is actually a little flowchart for how to handle this in the real world.
It's very practical.
It goes like this. If correction is needed, do it calmly. If not, release it.
It is an elegant framework because it acknowledges that you don't have to be a doormat.
Right.
Sometimes things do need to be addressed, but the manner in which you address it, the calmness, is what separates a grounded, secure action from a frantic, insecure defense.
Let's put this in the real world. Let's stress test this with a role play.
Okay, let's do it.
I'm in a boardroom. Bob from accounting deliberately twists my words to make it look like a massive error was my idea instead of his.
Classic Bob.
Classic Bob. The whole room is watching. My immediate instinct is to scorch the earth and destroy Bob's credibility. What do I actually do? Walk me through releasing it versus calm correction.
Okay, great scenario. Let's start with releasing it. Releasing it in that boardroom requires high emotional intelligence.
Okay.
It might look like recognizing that Bob always throws people under the bus and everyone else in the room already knows it. The room sees right through him.
Oh, true. They know his track record.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In that case, if you launch into a furious defense, you actually risk looking insecure and defensive yourself. Releasing it means you sit back, maintain absolute composure, and let his twisted words just fall flat in the silence.
You just let it hang there?
Let it hang. You trust your established track record to speak louder than Bob's momentary spin.
That makes sense. Let him dig his own grave.
Yeah.
But what if it's a situation where the boss is nodding along? What if Bob's twisted version of events is actually going to derail the project or officially go on my record?
Then we move to the other side of the flowchart. Calm correction. But here is the critical part.
Yeah.
Calm correction means you do not address Bob's motive. You only address the facts.
Oh, that's hard.
You don't say, Bob, why are you trying to throw me under the bus? You don't raise your voice. You don't get flushed. You wait for a beat. You use that pause from step 1, and you say something incredibly flat like, just to ensure clarity on the record for this project, my original metric was X, not Y. Let's make sure we are aligning on the correct data before moving forward.
Wow. That is incredibly hard to execute in the moment. When your heart rate is at 120, maintaining a flat tone and just correcting the data feels almost impossible.
It takes discipline.
But I see the difference. You aren't defending your character to Bob. You are just clarifying the spreadsheet for the room.
Exactly. You keep it entirely professional and completely decoupled from your ego. You are correcting the work, not defending your soul. Your soul is already secure. You don't need Bob's validation to know your own worth.
It takes the power completely out of the attacker's hands.
Completely.
And if you can combine that with a guarded heart, protecting yourself from that slow drip of bitterness, you eventually reach a place of genuine peace. A peace that doesn't depend on the constantly shifting opinions of the people around you.
Right.
Because let's face it, public opinion is like the weather. If your emotional stability is tied to the weather, you are always going to be thrown around by the storm.
Which requires a fundamental shift in how we view ourselves. You have to reach a point where you stop constantly taking the temperature of the room to figure out if you are okay.
So when you walk into the office tomorrow, or, when you open your phone later tonight, there is a very real chance that someone is going to misunderstand you.
It's almost guaranteed.
They might even do it on purpose, and you are going to feel that stomach drop. You are going to feel the heat in your face.
But you don't have to hire that unpaid defense attorney.
No!
You don't have to litigate a case in your head at 1:37 a.m.
You can choose the pause. You can externalize the burden, trusting in a defense that is infinitely bigger than your own PR spin. To everyone listening right now, Your reputation might be under immense pressure today. It might be happening in a corporate boardroom, or it might be happening right in your own living room. But your core identity remains entirely secure.
Untouchable.
You have absolute permission right now to stop frantically defending yourself to people who are already committed to misunderstanding you.
That is so freeing. And as we close, I want to leave you with a final thought to really mull over.
What's that?
Think about the sheer volume of mental bandwidth you dedicate to worrying about your reputation. If you completely gave up the exhausting job of managing what everyone thinks of you today, what could you build with all that leftover mental energy tomorrow?